Hi, thank you for joining me. In this video, we will be talking about how to use transition words, and these are really important. Some students have had trouble with this in the past, so I decided to make this video to make it very clear for you. So let's go. First off, you want to make sure you use these words to make connections that are clear. Transition words will take your listener by the hand. This is important because in writing, we have paragraphs, we have headings. In speaking, we just don't have any of that. So we need these transition words to take your listener by the hand. We don't want anybody to get lost. So sometimes when we're speaking, we want to continue a line of reasoning. We want to use a word to connect point 1 to point 2 to point 3, and they're all in one line. They're similar ideas. This is when we use and, in addition, because also, besides that, following this further, clearly then, furthermore, moreover, all of these help us continue the line of reasoning. And sometimes we need to change direction. We want to contrast. We want to change the line of reasoning. We might use but. On the other hand, however, on the contrary, now these are links. They're chains. And we need these, just like headings in a written paper. These will help us. Perhaps we want to link your first main point to your second main point, to your third main point. In a paper, you would have a heading, so the reader knows exactly, oh, we're shifting to the second main point. When speaking, we need to use transition words to clue our listener, oh, we're moving to the second main point. Let me show you. So the first chain would be the words first, second, third. This is probably the most commonly used chain because it just works. So don't worry, just use it all you want because it works. So as you get to your first paragraph, your first main idea, you start with first. Then you get to your second main idea. You say second or secondly. And then when you get to your third main point, you say third or thirdly. You can also use this chain within one main idea. Perhaps if you're talking about 3 different details that back up that main idea, you could use it there. Another chain, if you like it better, in the first place, also, lastly, another chain, generally, furthermore, finally. Now, sometimes we need to show a sequence. We need to show time. Often this happens when we're trying to tell a story. And I would ask you to please have one story in every single speech. But anyway, these are when we want connections that show the order things happened in time. Afterwards, as soon as, at first, before, finally, in the meantime, later, meanwhile, next, soon, then. These are all ways to show the order that things happened so that your listener does not get confused. Now, these transition words are just sort of general. You can use them in lots of different ways, lots of different places. Certainly, no doubt, obviously, of course, and then these over here are a little different. These are more when we are going to say something in a general way. Generally speaking, in general, at this level, in this situation. Now, sometimes we want to restate a point. Perhaps we used one of the words from the last slide and we said in general. Now we want to say this thing again, but in a very specific way, maybe shorter, maybe more exact. In other words, point in fact, specifically. Now, we may want to conclude. It's very important to signal your listener that the end is coming. Either the end of the whole speech or just the end of the thought, the paragraph. Finally, lastly, therefore, in final analysis, in conclusion, I would say in conclusion is probably the most popular one to use as you get to the conclusion of your speech because it works. But you are so welcome to use anything you want. All right, so hopefully this clarified for you just this idea of transition words and how to use them. If you have any questions, of course, as always, just email me.